advice on what things we could make better and what the next steps we should take are. So now we're inside my Darsh 180 awning with the extra wind panel I have to block off. I would like to get a second wind panel, but currently this is the only one that I could get my hands on. We have a table set up in front of our front passenger side door where we do our cooking, our cleaning, and our eating. We have the beginnings of a sea to summit collapsible bowl set. We have our Coleman grill here, a wash basin that we can get water for out of our front runner tank that's underneath of our false floor, and we've come up with some paracord ideas to store some stuff, light stuff along our roof rails. We currently don't have many chairs. I just have my one backpacking chair that I use on my adventure bike. We're looking into getting some other ones, but I can't decide which ones I like the most yet. Unfortunately, like most overland vehicles are set up to camp off of the rear and cook off of the rear, we don't have that luxury because the primary purpose of this Jeep is to be a base camp for my adventure, enduro, and dual sport motorcycles. I pull a trailer behind me and I'm unable to open my rear hatch and comfortably work out of that area. So to prevent from having to unhook my trailer every time we get to a campsite, we've decided to make our Jeep camp off the side. That's why we have the Darsh 180. Inside our passenger door, I have a plastic tub that is the same dimensions as the fridge we're looking to purchase, so right now it's just holding that space. We have a nice void in front of the tub, and that is where we store our grill, our cooking basin, and some of our cooking utensils. Underneath of the false floor, I have a front runner 10-gallon water tank. This 10 gallons should be enough for a couple days set up at camp in just cooking and drinking. I'm looking at doing another 13-gallon front runner water tank on my roof rack so that we have enough to shower and clean our dishes. We could use the clean water that stays inside for our cooking and eating since it won't experience as much of the elements. Behind our front runner water tank on the passenger side, I have a void. That void is where I would like to put my second battery hooked up to a solar panel on the hood so that I can run my fridge 24/7 because this is my daily driver and I'd like to set it up so that I'm ready to go at any time. All I have to do is hook into my trailer. I don't want to be packing and unpacking every time I come home. I'll show you from the rear our roll bar bag where we store our dry foods at, which can easily be accessible without moving anything. The way we're starting to set up our Jeep is once we're at camp and pull everything out, we can pretty much keep the doors shut so we don't get too much water inside there in case it's raining while we are at camp. I can access our dry goods without having to move the fridge or any of our other storage options for our stove. I have a Blue Ridge Overland attic on my roll bar as well, where currently I'm just keeping my cold weather coat and some of the dog's water containers and dog food. We made a paracord runner, which is where we're storing some of our cleaning supplies and our paper towels whenever we're in motion. Out back, we have our Darsh fire pit set up right now so that we have a secondary cooking option instead of just our Coleman stove or our backpacking stove. We also have a grill. I store that Darsh fire pit inside the back compartment of our camp cover tire cover. I'm hoping that I can also fit some of our recovery gear in there as well and save the front cover of the front runner cover for dirty laundry, wet clothes, or our life jackets because it has a drain at the bottom of it. You'll notice off the rear, in addition to our camp cover, we have our high jack stored here. It does protrude past the rear of my rack. I did make a bolting system to bolt it onto our rack with a wing nut and a padlock. Fortunately, we are still able to operate our rear hatch. You'll notice that our rear hatch is pretty well empty. This is where Frankie's bed goes while we're traveling, and that was the best use of this space since my rear gate does not open fully when my trailer is attached. You can see that we have a roll bar bag on the passenger and on the driver's side roll bar. Like I told you, the passenger side is where we store our dry goods and some of our camping utensils. I have some straps on this roll bar that we have our citronella candles hanging on for now. On the driver's side of our roll bar, I have our Freedom panel top strapped onto there. Even though our top is no longer removable with all of our stuff, our Freedom panels can still come off and they fit nicely along the driver's side roll bar. I've padded both our passenger and driver's side windows. We store our camp table on this side and we store our camping chairs on this side. I padded them with some gun foam that I had laying around the house to prevent from damaging the windows. Our rooftop tent is an Ironman 4x4. You can see we're set up to sleep off the passenger side. I wanted the covered entrance so that in case it was raining, we were still able to enter the tent without getting any of our sleeping gear wet. I'd like to look at getting an annex room, but for now, I want to make sure the Ironman tent is a good fit for us. It was on sale. It's not a well-known brand in the States, but it seems to be well-known in Australia. I purchased a Garvin rack with a full basket because originally we were going to run 2 Darsh 180 awnings, hook in one side and sleep in the other. However, with my trailer and the awnings coming off of the rear, that wasn't the best fit for us, so we had to adapt and go this route. I'm hoping to make better use of our empty space underneath our rack by storing my axe, shovel, and some other large items in that small space. So as you can see, we haven't painted our false floor in the back yet. I'm holding off on painting our false floor until we decide whether that is how we're going to store everything once we get the fridge. If we come up with new storage solutions, I don't want to have to paint this twice. Underneath our false floor, I have one ARB single compressor and one ARB 2.5 gallon air tank that is plumbed into a second 2.5 gallon air tank on the forward facing slope. Both of these air tanks run to the driver's area where I have an air management system set up. These tanks are plumbed also into my back bumper where I have a quick connect to plug into my trailer so I can have air at the rear of my trailer to work on my bikes. Inside of our driver's side roll bag is where I store all my tools and enough airline to redo the air system that is on the Jeep one time. I just have some basic hand tools in there to take care of our roof rack or anything that might go wrong when I don't have the trailer with me. In the trailer, I carry a much more in-depth tool selection to work on my bike. This is just for minor roadside repairs with our wiring that we've installed or the air system that we've installed. Off of our driver's side, I have stored my girlfriend's duffel bag and my duffel bag along with our day pack for when we go geocaching and hiking. I always keep my day pack and my duffel bag in here. Her duffel bag is stacked on there and secured to my headrest just for this weekend. You can see that our front runner water tank is also accessible from this side, as well as a breaker bar and our hatchet that doubles as my tent stake hammer. I have a set of jumper cables stored underneath of my driver's seat. Also, on our forward-facing slope of the rear floor, I have one 2.5 gallon Smitty-built air tank here. So, in our front seating area, I've attached a Molly panel to our roll bar, which holds 2 Nalgene bottles, my wallet, cell phone, pocket knives, lights, things that you might need on the fly, and a place to attach my keys for in case our top and doors are off, stuff isn't falling out of my pocket. You can see that we have lost our cup holders for my air management system. My compressor can be turned on up here. It has the electronic shutoff on it to cut off at 100 PSI. So when we are at camp, I can turn this on and leave it on when I'm working on my bikes, and it'll work just like your home compressor. One gauge tells me how much air is in my tanks. The other one tells me how much I've added to our bags via this switch right here. So we can add air to our bags that are inside our rear coils on the fly without having to pull over to help with the weight of my 3,500 pound trailer. By now you've noticed that we have no fenders. I'm working on building a set of tube fenders in here to attach to these rivet nuts that we've put in. I'm looking to tie my rock sliders into my tube fenders I'm building so that I have an extra support leg I could add for our Garvin roof rack, because it is very unstable even with the limited amount of weight that we have on there right now. Currently we just have a 2.5 inch lift with a set of 33 inch tires until I can find a better solution for our suspension to handle all the extra weight of our gear and pulling our trailer. I'm looking at doing a hood mount solar panel because I would like to leave my fridge in all the time, as I explained previously, and I would like to have a secondary battery and some power to it. I'm also looking at a solar panel that we can deploy once we're at camp. Thanks for taking a look at my 2020 GLU build that's in progress. If you stick around for a minute, I'll give you a quick look at how everything packs away. Alright, so here's a quick overview of our Jeep all packed up. We got our awning, wall, stakes, and rope kit over there. Our straps for our awning go inside the door. As you can see, our whole camp kitchen fits in between the gap between what would be our refrigerator and our seats. Our toilet paper and paper towels go back on the paracord runner behind the seat. In the rear, you can see all that's changed is Frankie's bed goes back in the back of the Jeep. On the top of the Jeep, all we currently have is our Darsh bag holding our wall kit for our awning.